Greetings from Indian Journal of Anesthesia. I, Dr. Kiran Mahendru, will present a narrative review on individual participant data meta-analysis. Now, in the era of evidence-based medicine, systematic reviews and meta-analysis have emerged as a well-established research tool for synthesizing the available evidence. Although the technique of meta-analysis is well established, it provides summary results and limits its use when it comes to personalized medicine. An improved understanding of limitations of the aggregate data presented in SRMAs have led to inception of individual participant data meta-analysis approach. The current shift towards personalized medicine has refined the evidence synthesis techniques, and IPDMA is one of this technique. This approach is preferred when there is need to explore treatment effects in participant subgroups, explore covariates, a variable which can influence the outcome, and improve consistent reporting regarding outcomes or participant covariates. It allows the study of newer outcomes, identifies predictors of outcomes, and analyzes the simultaneous effects of multiple covariates on treatment or intervention effects. Now, this IPDMA is defined as analysis of centrally collected data on participants sought from both published or unpublished cohorts. The data will include the demographic characteristics of the participants, the exposure under investigation, events, and follow-up information. The individual participant data meta-analysis requires significant logistical effort to gather IPD, that is individual participant data from various investigators, including published and unpublished cohorts. This is in contrast to the aggregate data meta-analysis, where the data is extracted from already published journal articles. The principal investigators, they acquire the review board approvals for the data request and analysis and republication of the cumulative data, which undergoes statistical recalculation. The advantages of this type of meta-analysis is that the data is taken from both published and unpublished trials included for the analysis. Data from cohort, case control studies, and newer trials can be included. It allows additional data check for previously published studies by the authors. There can be refinement of the inclusion-exclusion criteria. Various techniques can be used to handle missing or unreported data. It allows the reduction of ecological bias in poor reporting. It allows adjustment for baseline differences in study design and appropriate subgroup analysis. It allows analysis of a larger sample size to prove the statistical power. It also allows for the assessment of additional newer or long-term outcomes and analysis of time to event outcomes at different time points. There is better ability to analyze effect modifiers, detailed exploration of the patient factors, and analysis of combination of patient factors or different tests. The heterogeneity at the participant level and study level can be better explored through this approach. It allows more complete follow-up data to be obtained and allows minimization of publication and reporting bias. Now, the authors have also published the overview of the process of conducting individual participant data meta-analysis. It can be conducted either in a single stage or a two-stage approach, where the final steps are creating a protocol, where the details of how the meta-analysis will be performed based on the pre-specified criteria for inclusion, data collection, subgroup analysis, and interaction analysis is done. Then is the literature search phase, where the central team identifies the eligible studies through systematic review of published and non-published literature. If the eligibility criteria cannot be identified, the principal investigators are approached personally during this phase, and the investigators are invited to participate officially. Both eligible and ineligible studies are documented in the management sheet, and this minimizes the effort of reapproaching the same authors again in the future. After this phase is the recruitment phase, which starts once the studies are selected based on the eligibility criteria. The IPD central team invites the principal investigators formally via phone, mail, or video calls. And once recruited, the IPD central team requests the necessary documents from the investigators. Then a master code book is developed, followed by pre-harmonized data check. Once the studies are enrolled in the IPD, the individual investigators can share the complete de-identified data. The initial data check and details are documented in the dataset tracking sheet. The central team saves 2 copies of dataset, and the IPD central team evaluates the data for variation in variables, dataset structures, protocols, and publication status. Then is the mapping phase, where study variables are mapped to the IPD variables. And the most efficient way to map is by phone, and the data is checked for heterogeneity and integrity. Then is the phase of harmonizing code, which is created by reviewing the study variables. The IPD master code book and the investigator's final harmonized code are developed using mapping instructions, and the harmonized code is saved for all future references. Then is the post-harmonized data evaluation. After the harmonizing code is done, the study and central IPD teams ensure that the outcomes and captured data are harmonized appropriately. This may require multiple phone call based follow-ups. Then comes the final analysis phase, where data is then analyzed across the studies, producing outcomes that may or may not be similar to the published trials. This methodology allows the modification of individual level interactions within the studies, thus providing improved power to the research and minimizing the bias. Then is the final reporting, which is done using the PRISMA IPD checklist, in addition to the standard PRISMA checklist. And then there is checking for the publication bias, where a funnel plot can be created to rule out publication bias, which can be detected by presence or absence of asymmetry. So this is the entire process of conducting an individualized patient data meta-analysis. How do we interpret the results of this? First, there is assessment of the treatment effect, which allows for understanding the different factors, such as the effect of age, gender, disease that can affect the outcomes. Then is exploring the heterogeneity, like looking for variability in treatment effects across the studies. This is an important step towards understanding which subgroups of participants are benefiting the most from the intervention, which helps to suggest the personalized medicine, that is customized treatment strategies for subgroups or particular subset of population. Adjustment for confounders is done, and then sensitivity analysis can be done. The sensitivity testing aims to assess the robustness of the analysis, for example, testing the impact of missing data or the effect of different statistical models on the overall results. And then the interpretation is done for generalization to a larger population, which increase the external validity of the findings. How is this different from a normal meta-analysis is that meta-analysis is a quantitative approach to synthesize information from multiple studies to answer one research question. Combining the results of the various studies provides a more precise estimate of effect size through a larger sample size, with higher statistical power and reduced impact of bias in individual studies. Depending upon the type of data used for synthesis, the included studies enable the investigators to draw inferences and sometimes flexibility in answering questions not posed by individual initial study researchers. Now, there are various methodologies to conduct meta-analysis, which is pooled analysis, meta-analysis, and network meta-analysis. Now, the individual participant data meta-analysis, it is a labor-intensive process of collecting raw data from published studies to reanalyze the data for more accurate and consistent results. It is efficacious in studying subgroups where combining data improves the statistical power of relationships. It faces challenges of smaller number of included studies when compared to conventional meta-analysis due to non-participation from authors. However, the data included is probably more authentic due to transparency and inclusion of authorship to the participating teams. The strength and limitations of the IPD analysis should therefore be considered when we are extrapolating the results to the clinical practice. What are the barriers of conducting this meta-analysis is the inability to contact the authors, the hesitancy of the authors to share their data, unclear ownership and lost data. Missing data, verification of data, and non-standardized variables are the potential barriers. It is a resource intensive project and requires judicious time management from the contributing groups. The process of data collection, checking, and analyzing is more complex than the aggregate data meta analysis. There is a risk of selection bias while conducting this IPD meta analysis, and it entails data sharing between collaborators from multiple countries. Depending on the origin of the data, there can be challenges based on the data privacy regulations, making it difficult for data to be shared across borders. What is the scope and impact of IPD-MA in future? It is a powerful tool that allows researchers to explore variations in patient-level characteristics that can influence the outcomes. It can transform the clinical decision-making by providing personalized interventions based on individual patient characteristics and genetic profiles. It may also augment machine learning-driven predictive models by integrating IPD in predictive algorithms. These applications can be valuable in managing pain, sepsis, and clinical scenarios, which involve a complex interplay of factors that affect the outcomes. Furthermore, its combination with artificial intelligence could elucidate previously unknown risk factors or treatment interactions, paving the way for novel therapeutic strategies in complex medical conditions. Therefore, to conclude, it is emerging as a gold standard for evidence synthesis due to its ability to provide pooled estimates from validated data. The individual participant data meta-analysis is more precise and reliable to estimate the treatment effects and uncover insights that may be obscured in the conventional aggregated data meta-analysis. While it has its limitations, they can be overcome by clear protocol with pre-specified details. Therefore, there is a growing effort to harmonize the outcomes of interest across different specialties, which will eventually help in collaborative projects such as individual participant data meta-analysis. Thank you.